What up, reader fam? Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, opinions, and feels on Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. This is actually the book explosion book of the month for the month of May, and this month we are working with Penguin Random House, and our live show is going to be happening on May 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Paul Bananas Books channel, so if you haven't read this book, be sure to read it and join us. Also, if the live show date has already passed and you're watching this video way past the live show date, then I will leave a link down below to the recorded live show so you can go and check that out. So now let me break down for you what Windfall is all about. In this book, we follow a girl by the name of Alice who buys a lottery ticket for her best friend Teddy on his 18th birthday. And it's a lucky one for Teddy because he ends up winning 140 million buckaroos. And by buckaroos, I mean money. Money, 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 money. While this sounds like the best thing in the world, it soon becomes a dividing force between Alice and Teddy as the money just kind of starts to get to Teddy's head a little bit. That's all I'm gonna tell you. That's what the story is all about. I didn't really know what to expect going into this book. The only thing I knew was the fact that somebody in this book wins a lot of money through the lottery. This was also my first time reading a Jennifer E. Smith book. Now I know that there has kind of been some mixed thoughts on her books. Some people love her books, some people don't like her books, and I'm kind of finding myself in between on this one as well. While I did really enjoy the book, there were also things about it that I didn't enjoy. For the most part though, coming out of this book, I did really enjoy it. It is a story where you have to completely suspend your disbelief. There were so many times throughout this book where I was just like, that would never happen. That would never ever happen. So even though it's realistic fiction, it's still not that realistic. I will say that I don't feel like it brought anything fresh to a story that I've seen before. This is a story concept that has been done time and time again. And it would have been really nice to have seen something new been done to the story. Even though I felt like I've read this story before, I still ended up really liking it. And I think the thing that this book had going for it were all the different discussions that it brought out. One of the very obvious discussions that this book brings forward is money and people's relationship with money, and just how in general money can affect you. We have this character who is given buckets and buckets of money, more than he probably needs, and we really see this progression as to how it affects and changes his life. On one hand, it's a good thing because him and his mother have been struggling for a while, so we see how he's going to be able to provide and take care of his mother. On the other hand though, we see the evil side of money, where he starts to act incredibly privileged and entitled, and we also see how people start to take advantage of him and manipulate him. And it was really interesting to kind of see how everything plays out, because there are really two options as to how this story can go down. It could either ruin him, or he could use the money for good. I think another great message that this book preaches is kindness. How a simple act of kindness can go a long way. The writing, I'll admit, was pretty simple. It didn't do much for me, and some of the dialogue was a little on the meh side of things, but I will say that I did love seeing the direction the story went in. I will admit that this is a book that is pretty predictable. Like, there are things that you just can totally see coming, and you know where the story is gonna go. As I was reading it, I was just like, yep, called it, knew that was gonna happen, knew this character was gonna do that. So I just found it really easy to see what was going to happen next. Mind you, that did not take away from my likeness of this book. There were definitely things here and there that did surprise me a little bit, but just know going into it that you're probably gonna know what's going to happen. I thankfully cared enough about the characters to continue reading this story. Another thing that I will say is that something that drove me crazy about this book was the romance. I'm not gonna go deep into this because I don't want to spoil it, but I just felt like our main character Alice deserved so much better from page 1 all the way to the end. I just feel like she deserved so much better, and I just kind of felt like the relationship was a little bit of a cop-out, but that's just my opinion. Something that I did really like about this story is that even though we're seeing through our main character Alice, it felt like throughout the story we weren't only following her journey. The story also follows so many other people, and we uncover so many other journeys. We have her cousin Leo and the complications that he's facing with his boyfriend. We have obviously her friend Teddy, whose life has just been changed by this lottery ticket. We have Teddy's father, who has just been gone from his life and then one day just suddenly pops up out of the blue. We have his mom, who is trying to keep Teddy's feet on the ground, which is definitely a difficult thing for her. We have Alice's aunt and uncle, who have played a really important role in her life after her parents passed away. We have the boy that Alice tutors. We have Sawyer, the boy that Alice works with at the soup kitchen. So there's just so much more to this story than just Alice and Teddy's story. We have so many other things going for it, which I think is a really good thing, because if we only followed Alice and Teddy throughout this story, I feel like it might have been a really dull story, but thankfully those other storylines really added and really shaped this book. And I really liked all the characters that we saw throughout this story. I don't feel like all the characters characters went through growth necessarily, but our main characters, Teddy and Alice, definitely go through quite a bit of growth throughout this book. We see Alice and coming to terms with the death of her parents, and we see her start to realize that even though her parents had these dreams for her, that it's her life and she needs to make decisions that make her happy. Alice throughout this book is a very selfless character. She's hardly ever just doing things for herself, and I feel like towards the end of this book we start to see her make these decisions that will benefit her, and it really feels like she's starting to take her life into her own hands and to make decisions for herself. And we also see growth with Teddy's character throughout this book, but I'm not going to say anything about his character because I feel like it would just spoil everything, and I don't want to spoil what happens with this character. You're gonna have to read this book to find out. So those are all my thoughts, opinions, and feels on Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. You guys should let me know down below in the comments if you are planning to read this book. You totally should, and join us for the live show that's happening on May 27th. Also, let me know down below if you guys have read this book and what you thought of it. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to be notified as to when I post new videos, be sure and go and click subscribe, or go click the little bell icon and you'll be notified as to when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye.